Hello and welcome to the fourth video in this free coaching series. In this video I want to talk a little bit more about one very powerful way in which you can decide for yourself and explore what it is that has been holding you back, and then dismantle that and move on to something which now suits you better. For the people who like to know where things fit in context, I'll just also recap about where this video fits in. First of all, we spoke about making time for coaching, and then in the second video I was talking about what you want in coaching and how to define what you want. In the last video I talked about a specific piece of that and how to be exceptionally sure in a specific set of circumstances. So in this video, now moving on to the second stage of the process, the whole coaching process, which is about helping yourself to move beyond things that have previously been obstacles or barriers. So, the thing about an obstacle or a barrier, how do you identify it in the first place? Most people would already be achieving the outcome they wanted if they knew for certain what it was that was holding them back. Fortunately, there are a couple of in fact there are very many good ways to identify obstacles and move past them. There are two particularly powerful ones. In this video I'm going to concentrate on one of them, and then in the next video I'll concentrate on the other. So, in the here and now, finding out how to move past obstacles. In order to move past them, you've got to be very clear about what they are, first of all. And so, how to do that simply and easily? Well, fortunately, it is a lot more simple and a lot more easy than you might think. What I'd like you to do is and you may need to pause this video to do it, but take a large sheet of paper or an open document on your computer, or if you don't like to write, some way in which to record your own voice. And all I want you to do is to write down everything you feel about the outcome you want and the situation you're facing. And if there are any frustrations or things that feel as if they're standing in your way, don't hold back, put them all down and really explain to yourself what it is that comprises the whole situation. The things you like about it, the things you really want, and the parts that you're still not so sure about. Everything which you feel about the situation, including anything, in fact, especially anything which is frustrating or annoying. And as I said, you may want to pause this video whilst you do that. I'm going to assume that you now have, in some form, a collection of either written or spoken information that's all about your situation. Perhaps I should have said this before, but the quality of it matters not at all. The point of it is that it is yours and it's your view of the situation. And if at all possible, do give it a read through now, but if at all possible, lay it aside for even longer, a few hours, maybe even a day or so. And again, I'm going to assume that you've done that by this point. Because what I now want you to do is to read back or listen to your own view of the situation. And whilst you're listening, I'd like you to read or listen out for, listen out for any words which jump out at you as being a way in which you're holding yourself back. And very commonly, these are words which define your situation for you, or which you've chosen to define the situation, such as, I should be feeling enthusiastic about moving to XYZ place, but what I'd really rather do is blah. Or, I need to achieve this outcome, but I feel it might not be realistic for somebody like me. Now, I'm just going to take this second one as an example a bit further on, but in fact, any word which you feel, on reflection, reading back what you've written or listening to it, is restrictive, is bounding the situation within tighter walls than it might otherwise need to be, that's a word that you're going to fix on, because it's a rule that you've made up for yourself about the situation. It could take almost any form of phrasing, but very common boundaries that people set for themselves include: I may not be good enough, I should do this, I never do that, I can't do this, I can do that, people always, people should, life is or isn't fair or unfair, or any other similar adjective. There are whole lists and reams of words, which is why I can't possibly list them all now, but why I'm asking you to look or listen out for those boundaries that you have set yourself. And once you've found at least one, and maybe two or three, from within what you've written or spoken about, think for yourself about each of those rules you've set. And I'm going to go back to an example rule that somebody might set for themselves, which is, I'm not sure that somebody like me is good enough to do XYZ thing. And if that person had set themselves a rule like that, then by looking at it as a rule that they've set for themselves and being a bit more objective, having written it all out or being able to listen to it back as if it was happening to somebody else, you can now ask yourself the following question. You've set a rule about your situation. Does that rule really apply anymore? Did it ever apply? Is a follow-up question. And most importantly, which rule would you like to govern the situation now, if any? And if you're going to choose a new rule for the situation, make it one that's expansive, such as, I have everything available within myself to achieve this outcome, or I have everything I need in order to succeed. And of course, you have the option of not applying any rules at all. A final point on this subject is that for all the people who are watching and listening to this, who are themselves coaches or helping other people in a similar capacity, of course, this is something you can do with anybody else, and the same process applies of watching out for or listening to the exact words that people use to frame their situation, and then helping them to expand that frame as much as possible. That's the end of this explanation of one particular process for expanding the boundaries around that which you believe to be possible. In the next video, I'd like to talk about another very different process of the same kind. Many thanks. That's the end of this recording.